daily lives. You know, you go around and you think that, again, I need to call a taxi. You call one company, they say, sorry, we can't come. Another one says that we can come in 30 minutes. So the question is, how can you get the closest taxi to you quick enough? And that comes from your daily life, from the issue that you want to solve that. I've seen probably 30 plus taxi calling startups all over Central Eastern Europe in the past 4 or 5 years. Almost every single country has their own. There are only few startups who have been as successful as Taxify in Estonia, with getting to other countries as well. And why they're doing that is not because they are the first one in this industry of calling a taxi, or they've built better technology than others. It's also that they pack this together with being really strong on sales and building partners. So even though you can build the best technology, you still need to market and sell it. So it's not only about developing the product itself. But many other ideas also come from daily life. So one of the first garage-loaded hackathons that we had 4 years ago, a single mom with twins, 4 years old at home, said that, you know, I have a problem that I can't find a trustworthy babysitter. And how can I change that? Shouldn't we build a platform where all babysitters would sign up? And I can choose the one that I need. Whether I need a babysitter at home for a couple of hours, whether I need a babysitter to speak Estonian, Russian, and English, or anything else, all the other elements as well that you think are important. And what about also knowing how trustworthy the babysitter is? Sure. And so for that, I would need recommendations from others. So 4 years ago, they built a system called Włazewicz.net. And funny thing about this platform was, we heard later, that Estonian government had tried to build a similar kind of system. At the time, we had crowns, and government had already spent about 5 million crowns in order to build the system, and they had also failed. So it doesn't really matter who builds it, whether it's government or whether it's people. You never know who succeeds at the end. Last year we had more than 70 babysitters within just 48 hours on the platform, and first orders made as well. At the same time, though I think all of you would agree that the system is needed, they struggled with their business a lot. They haven't found a proper business plan to build a sustainable business. Why? Because often, you know, when you find a babysitter already through their system, you continue to use the babysitter directly. So they can't use the cut anymore. And they have struggled to find other solutions as well. But still they have continued to keep the system working, because it is something that is really needed for many. Another idea from real life. So what about calling an ambulance? What do you do today? You call 112, right? Somebody answers, what has happened, where are you injured? What if you're deaf? Does anybody know how you call an ambulance or police or fire department then?
Send a message.
Who takes the message? Can you send a message to 112?
No.
No. So the truth was 4 years ago, my mom is a sign language translator as well, so I knew a little bit about the system. There was a system to send an SMS, but the person had to be registered before that from his mobile phone he could send a message, so that they would know, you know, that the message is coming from over or something. But another thing, are there other occasions where you would need to use the same thing? What about you're sitting on a bus? You can hear and talk and everything, and you see a fight on the bus. Can you call a police and, you know, the people are fighting like 2 meters from you and, you know, there's a fight in here. Yeah, please come quickly, we're on the bus. On that situation as well, even if you can speak and hear, you would maybe use the system as well to like quietly say that where you are, what is happening, and get information back how quickly you can help what's coming. So the idea was that to build a system where you don't need to talk to get help. whether it's ambulance, police, or fire department. And that project was welcomed by Estonian emergency system, but Estonian law didn't allow to use that kind of systems at that time. Today there are some other ways for deaf people to call an ambulance if they need. The truth is that they still send a message to their translator, who then calls an ambulance, because then the information still travels quicker, which is a pity. And like I mentioned before, then 4 years ago as well, we had, by the way, it's a Taxify founder, Markus Jürg. His first Garage 48 when he was at high school was about building an M school out of E-school. And he built a pretty good, simple system, to get the most important elements, to know your grades, what are the assignments you had to do at home. And they were in discussions with E-school, whether to continue with that or not. Again, for some different reasons, they didn't make the agreement at that time, and the version that we have for M-school today is made by E-school themselves. So all these ideas were mostly about individuals having problems. So where does the business-to-business ideas come? Business-to-business ideas are, for example, when you have a company and you have sales agents in there, then the sales agents need to do their work in also a controlled environment. How to make their work easier? How could they control what contacts they have spoken with, emailed, or called? And what else good to do? How the boss could know whether what they have already sold is enough, or should they focus their attention a little bit more, or maybe they should find other sales agents in the first place. So this is usually called, for example, client relations management. And this is business-to-business idea. But still, the same business-to-business ideas come from trying to figure out and solve the problems that you also have in your daily lives, whether you do it yourself or somebody else. For example, one of Estonian startups called Paweł, who is time management tool. They didn't start as a time management tool. They first built the first version of time management because they needed that in their own company. They needed to figure out how much time is spent on development, on specific projects, on a specific task. And for that, they built the first simple tool and started to sell that. Today, they're not doing anything else than developing this tool called Paweł and selling that, which is really successful everywhere all over the world. So often what you start might not be what you continue with. It's also important to know that when you're building services or products, then you need to think whether your client is an individual, small or medium company, or an enterprise. An individual is totally different business from selling your products to small or medium companies. But also, it's completely different from selling your products to enterprises. So for example, I work at Microsoft today. When you build a product that you think Microsoft should use, then the sales system for Microsoft often is half a year or maybe a year. But when you build a product for small and medium companies, then the sales cycle is much quicker. And you usually get to a person who can make a decision also in a quicker way. So what kind of ideas are the ones that are brilliant, out of our lives, but what else is needed in here? And the first thing is that often the ideas of the startups that make it are not original. So it's not about you coming up with ideas that nobody else has made before, but it's about coming up with ideas that might be similar, but that approach differently. So therefore, if you come up with an idea, the first thing that you should always do is find out the competition. Who are already out there? Whether they are doing the service, the product exactly the same way as you were thinking, or something is missing. And the something is missing is the part where you can be much better than they are, or quicker, or build better service, or have better customer support. So it might not even be about technology. It's also important to share ideas, because that will give you the information what is already out there, and also whether others have similar issues, whether your idea is something that bothers them or not. And through that, you can start validating your ideas. So validating means that whether the target group you're thinking about really needs it or not. And the quicker you do that, the better it is. And you will be hearing that how to validate today a little bit more as well. It's also important to get a lot of information in. So feedback from mentors, advisors, people already in this industry. So you will have more information to make your decisions at the end of the day. The important element in the startup world is sharing your ideas. You can't build a really good startup business with just you being one person in it. You need to go out and share the ideas and do that openly. And the truth is that if somebody will come and steal the idea, then it means they were better than you were. Not the fact that they stole it. So they made it that day because you didn't enough what it takes. And like already seen from a couple of these examples of ideas, the startups need to solve a pain that you care about. So that whatever you do and decide to do is something that you care about every single day. I already spoke about a couple of these ideas that are written here, but an example of an idea from Uganda. So in Uganda, Mafuta ago, Uganda is a country in Africa. The issue there is that you need to really quickly know what is the gas price in different gas stations. And for that, they need to build a crowdsourcing system. That was actually 3 years ago. So that people would enter the price of gas, and the others would also know what is happening in there, and how much is the gas price. In there, the issue also was that not even today, but especially 3 years ago, most of them didn't have smartphones. So they made this service. Also, for those who have these old versions of phones with buttons on it, maybe you have never used them at all. And like I already said before, calling a taxi or sharing a ride is something that I hear in every single country I go to. So to give you a comparison, for example, this year only, 2014, I think I've seen maybe 200 plus different startups, and many more ideas that I've heard about. So what, for example, this calling a taxi or sharing a ride has shown me for the past 3 years. Until a year ago, I hadn't seen a successful startup in that sector. But everybody kept on talking about it. So there's only one thing. At some point, somebody will come and nail it, will make it at the end. And this is the same thing with a lot of ideas that come around in every single country. And today I see Taxify here. There are other companies in other countries that are also doing really well. Of course, from the US, we have Uber, we have a Halo, for example, that are in a similar industry, though most of them might have different business case, which is something if you're interested in, you can go and research. One company that I want to talk about is Timber Diameter, and again, the industry change that they have done. The founder of Timber Diameter is Paweł. He works in the forestry industry. You know, a guy that takes trees down, sells them, and this is his business. The problem in this industry is that you have to measure the logs, the chunks of logs. So how big they are. And often it's done about 5 to 10 times from the moment that they are taken down in the forest to the moment when they get to a factory, for example, where they're made to furniture. But something that needs to be pretty precise. And still often it's done, with your eyes like, that much, let's say like 5, what is tihumeter, whatever in English. Martin, do you know? Tihumeter? No?
No.
Anybody knows how tihumeter in English? No? Anyway, the measurement that you use in the forestry. What they built. So Paweł came to Garage 48, pitched the idea. And first at the pre-event, he got a lot of feedback, what else he should research. And he did a lot of research before coming to the real 48-hour event. He searched if and what else is already out there, so whether there is competition. He validated the idea, he added more information from possible clients. And he came to Garage 48, a guy who doesn't know anything about technology, who works in the forestry, and pitched the idea. He got a team of really good developers, but not only developers, but also marketing people. They built their first prototype during the weekend, a mobile application that you use to make a picture, and you measure the chunks of logs. It tells you how much is there. And if I remember correctly, then the technology that they used to build this first prototype was used to measure the bacteria colony. So again, for technology, for these industries in the startup world, you have to know a lot of information. Because often in forestry, these things might help that were used in biology, for example. So it's important to have team members that know a lot of information, who have done different things, and who have knowledge and experience from their own industries as well. And this together brings results and brings the solutions that are the services. So Timber Diameter by today has also won IOF competition. They have raised investment, and they have several bigger clients waiting for their solution to be ready. So will have 3 versions of it. And I think that's all from my side. But you're most welcome to ask any additional questions from me as well. Yeah, thank you.